Hey, welcome back to the channel. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. I want to talk about a subject that's been eating away at me for ages, and that's that brands just don't get YouTube. So I've worked with companies, particularly small to medium companies, looking to grow on YouTube but not reaching their full potential, often ending up in some tug of war between SEO and product and brand awareness strategies. In this video, I want to share with you my take on why I think so many brands are struggling to grow on YouTube, and it comes down to one simple key factor: content strategy. I often ask people, what is your content strategy? And I often get answers like post frequency, video format, long form, short form. We post 3 times a week. We post long form twice a month. And the thing is, that's not a content strategy. That's a production schedule. Where I try and help companies change their outlook on YouTube is to help them develop an actual content strategy that aligns with their goals. The main mistake I've seen with brands that I've spoken to is that they don't understand exactly what they want to achieve out of YouTube. So the first question I would ask is, what do you hope to get out of YouTube in the next year or two? Most brands are going to come back and say they want to grow their channel through getting more views and more subscribers. Those are great goals to have, but let's not stop there. The next question I would ask is often assumed, but we have to ask it, and that's why. And 9 times out of 10, the answer is going to be to get more customers. Sure, there are some exceptions to this, but we'll talk about those later. Let's stick with this train for now. So now we have the what and we have the why. Now we can get to the really meaty part, which is the how. This is the starting point for developing a content strategy. Let me explain. Getting more customers, especially as a smaller brand, means reaching more people who have never heard of your products or services. This is what we call a cold audience. They're people who could gain value out of your brand, but right now they're on the outside, they're out in the cold. Our strategy needs to bring those people in from the cold to make them aware of your brand and to build a relationship, converting them from a cold audience into a warm audience. So understanding where YouTube fits into your marketing funnel is really crucial here. If we're trying to grow a channel to attract new eyes on our brand, then our content needs to appeal to a wider, colder audience. In marketing terms, this is called top of funnel. This is where we want a wide reach to a broad audience and convert them into a warm audience. And growing this warm audience is key to lead generation and ultimately sales. So this first step is critical to the rest of the funnel. So YouTube is hands down the best platform in existence for reaching a cold audience with zero ad spend. And the key to getting the most out of YouTube is through a concept called organic community building. And when we're talking about building a community on YouTube, we're talking about a lot more than just subscriber numbers. A community is a following with a shared interest in a problem space or topic that develop a genuine connection with your content at a personal level. That personal connection is key to establishing your channel's credibility and gaining the trust of the viewer. Let me say that again: credibility and trust. These are the cornerstones of a good content strategy, and it's where so many brands are failing to cash in on the potential of YouTube. Most brands are simply failing to deliver or just losing sight of the goal. The number one mistake that I see most brands making is just making the wrong type of content and not understanding their target audience. A common example of this is when companies start to make all of their content centered around their own products and services. I like to call these self-focused channels. Our company, our journey, our story, our product. So let's bring this back to our content strategy and ask ourselves, what value does this type of content deliver? But of course, value is subjective. Something may be valuable to me, but worthless to you. So let's ask a better question. Who gets the most value out of this content? I'd say this type of content delivers very good value to existing customers and prospects, people already familiar with the brand. That's a warm audience. It's not content that aligns with the growth strategy that we're trying to implement. It doesn't appeal to a wider, colder audience. This is the disconnect that I see so many brands arriving at. They stop community building and they start creating content libraries. Don't get me wrong, both can deliver great value, but we need to go back to the original question about what we're trying to get out of YouTube, and are we following the right strategy to enable us to do that? Most YouTube channels will end up becoming one of two things: a content library of resources or a community. If you want to organically grow a community on YouTube and reach a new audience, then you need to start creating more content focused on solutions in the problem space that your potential customers have. That's how you build trust, and then you can leverage that audience to raise awareness about your brand off the back of that trust. So if we're community building, then we always need to be asking, is this content delivering any value to someone who's never heard of our brand? So let's also look at the other side of the coin. Of course, a content library can also foster a community. It can be a community channel based around the brand itself. Maybe it publishes valuable educational resources around the brand's products. An example of this would be a software company that publishes explainer videos and tutorials on how to use its product. But this type of channel caters to a really different audience, a much warmer audience, one that's already deeply familiar with the brand. The growth strategy here relies more on SEO ranking and cross-platform referrals from other social media channels. So it's less about organic growth. So this brings us back to the original question. What do we as a brand want to achieve with YouTube? Do we want to make content that delivers extra value to existing or potential customers, or do we want to capture a new audience and bring in new customers? And this will dictate what type of channel we want to be. One argument, of course, is that you could just do both, and while that's true, it can be pretty tricky to do both. You see, the key to growing organically on YouTube is to give the algorithm enough data points that it knows how to target your content effectively. YouTube can be exceptionally good at targeting your content at the right audience, people who will really engage with it. But to do this really well, YouTube needs to understand your content. The more it understands your content, the more it's going to be able to push your videos and gain a wider reach. But when channels start posting a mixture of different types of content intended for different audience sets, then this makes it harder for YouTube to understand your content and push it to the right audience. So this can hurt your organic growth. So this is why it's so important that brands really understand what they expect to get out of YouTube and then implement a strategy to get there. While a lot of companies are struggling with this, there's one brand in particular I think totally gets the point. HubSpot is a CRM platform that helps companies with sales and marketing and social media. They've developed a strategy to get the best out of both worlds. They actually have 2 YouTube channels. If we look at their main channel here, they post videos about their products, explainer videos, tutorials on how to use the platform, but they also run a second channel called Masters in Marketing. I think it used to be called HubSpot Marketing. Here they use a community building strategy where they post content that appeals to a really wide audience who are interested in social media and marketing topics. I should add that I'm not affiliated in any way with HubSpot. I just think they're a really good example of a brand that gets YouTube right. So if you're a brand starting out or stalled on YouTube, then I hope this helps. Decide on your desired goals and what you want your channel to be, and then develop a content strategy around that. If you have questions or comments, then please drop them down below. I'm Craig and I can help with anything related to making videos, video editing, YouTube strategy, social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. Until the next time.